Hey everyone, I'm Liz Fairy and today I'm going to show you how to finish making these doll shoes. This is the second part of my doll shoes tutorial. If you missed that tutorial, click the link on the screen to find it, because you'll need the basic sneakers I made in that video to make these. In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the tongue of the sneakers, how to make the laces for your shoes, and how to make a toe cap for the shoe, like I did for these sneakers. This pattern is really easy to customize to any size doll, but I'll be making mine to fit these two different dolls. My realistic body doll, and my basic doll. Some other things you'll need for this tutorial are a crochet hook, you can use any size you like, I'm going to use a size E, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle to sew the tongue to the shoe and to sew the laces in. You'll need some yarn to make the tongue and the toe cap of the shoe. You should use the same yarn you used to make the upper part of the shoe to make the tongue, and the same color you used to make the sole of the shoe to make the toe cap. I used worsted weight cherry red from Red Heart to make the tongue of the shoes, and I used white from Caron Simply Soft to make the toe cap, but you can use any color you like. If you want, you could make laces for your shoes out of crochet thread. For my laces, I'll be using some white crochet thread from Lydia brand. If you'd like a written pattern for these doll shoes, you can find one in my Ravelry store. That link is in the description below. So I'm going to make the tongue of the shoe next. To do this, I'm going to create a foundation chain the width I want the tongue of the shoe to be. For my foundation, I'm just going to chain 2, but you can chain as many as you want if you made a larger size. For this larger one, I chained 4 for the foundation chain. So I'm going to make a slip knot. And then chain 2. Next, I'm going to chain 1, and that's going to count as the first stitch of the row. So I'll mark it with my bobby pin. Then I'm going to single crochet in the third chain from the hook. And that's going to complete my row since I just had 2 chains in the foundation. If you made a larger size though, single crochet into the remaining chains of the foundation. Next I'm going to chain 1 for the first stitch of the next row. And mark it with my bobby pin. Then I'm going to single crochet in the third stitch from the hook. And that's going to end the row again. Again, if you made a larger size, single crochet into the remaining stitches in the row. Keep making more rows like that until the tongue reaches the right length. I did 8 rows total to make the tongue. When you get to the right length, chain 1 to end the row. Cut off a long tail and use that tail to sew the tongue to the front of the shoe. Alright, now the tongue is sewn on. Next I'm going to make the laces. I'm going to use some crochet thread to do this. I've already cut some crochet thread to be way longer than I need for the laces so that I can trim the ends when I'm done. This will just make it easier to tie the shoes. So I'm just going to use my yarn needle to sew the laces through the front of the shoe. There's lots of ways that you can do this. I'm just going to do it by crossing the laces. I'm going to start by making one long stitch under the tongue of the shoe. So I'm going to insert my needle through the inside of the shoe under the tongue on one side. And I'm going to leave a long tail on this side so that I can do the other side later. Then I'm going to put the needle back through to the inside of the shoe on the other side of the tongue. So bring the needle back out, and then cross it over to the other side. Then place it through the inside of the shoe again along the side at the bottom of the tongue, just a little higher than where I already placed this stitch. I'm also going to make sure to leave the other side of the laces out so that they don't get stuck inside the shoe. Okay, next I'm going to cross the needle over again. I'm going to bring it out through the inside of the shoe, a little bit higher than the stitch I just placed on the other side so that it makes a zigzag line. Then I'm going to do this 2 more times to create a zigzag line up the top of the shoe with one side of the lace. So cross over, and stitch a little higher than the last stitch through the other side. Try to space your stitches out evenly so that it looks a little neater. And then cross over and stitch a little higher through the other side. And make sure that your last stitch is on the very top on one side. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other lace on the opposite sides from the stitches I've already placed to fill in the stitches on the other side of the tongue. I'm just going to cross over those stitches and push the needle through the inside of the shoe. And if it doesn't look perfectly clean, feel free to undo some of those stitches and redo them again, just to make sure that you get that clean cross shape. And when I'm done, I'm going to use my hook to tighten the laces. Then I'm going to tie the laces in a shoelace knot. And when I'm done fixing the knot, I'll trim each side so they're about the same length. If you want to, you can make a toe cap for the shoe. To do that, create a slip knot and chain 3. And that third chain is going to count as the first stitch of the row, so I'm going to mark it with my bobby pin. Then I'm going to single crochet in the third chain from the hook, then single crochet 3 more times in that chain so that I have a total of 5 stitches. To start the next row, I'm going to chain 1 for the first stitch, and single crochet in the third stitch from the hook. Then I'm going to increase the stitch that I just worked into, so single crochet again into that stitch. And then increase the next 2 stitches of the row. Okay, I've finished with 3 increases. Now just single crochet in the last stitch of the row. This is going to be my last row of increase. If you made a larger size, keep adding 3 increases per row until you get the size you want for the toe of the shoe. Keep repeating the pattern of chaining 1 for the first stitch, then increase by the next number. In the last row, I increased every stitch in the middle. In this row, you would increase every second stitch in the middle. Then in the next row, every third stitch in the middle, then every fourth stitch in the middle, and so on, until you reach the last stitch of the row, then single crochet again in that stitch. Keep adding rows like that until you reach the size you want for the toe of the shoe, but I'm not going to do that for mine. Next, add rows of single crochet until you reach the length that you want for the toe of the shoe. I single crocheted for 3 more rows. At the end of the last row, chain 1 to end the row. Cut off a long tail of yarn and use that tail to sew the toe cap to the toe of the shoe. And now the shoes are finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give it a like or share it on social media. If you want to see more basic doll tutorials, you can find a playlist at the end of this video or check in the description below. If you want to help support me in making new videos, donate to my Patreon. It's entirely optional, but if you do, you can get some perks like having access to my videos a week before they're posted here on YouTube. You can find more information about that in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you all next time. Bye!